One of our brethren some years ago spoke of the payment of tithing as fire insurance. Nonetheless, the word of the Lord is clear that those who do not keep the commandments and observe the laws of God shall be burned at the time of his coming. For that shall be a day of judgment, a day of sifting, a day of separating the good from the evil. I would venture a personal opinion that no event has occurred in all the history of the earth as dreadful as will be the day of the second coming, as fraught with the destructive forces of nature, as consequential for the nations of the earth, as terrible for the wicked, and as wonderful for the righteous.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, no thief is the night. A thief in the night as a thief in the night. Botched it. Should I redo it? As the threats have not materialized. It's only 6 in the morning. But there's some things we need to talk about now. Daddy needs to talk with you. We need to have the talk. I did check the news, and an hour ago, the ceasefire by Israel was complied with so that the exchange of hostages can take place. And so everything seems to be going as planned in Israel. I did see news of a woman holding a sign, bring my people home. And if you're unfamiliar with the Jews and the learning of the Jews, you have no clue what she means by that. She's referring to their Torah about Moses and the Exodus. Let my people go. The whole world of Islam is purposely misinforming the public through social media and their spies in the press. Eamon of MSNBC was the latest anti-Semitic host or guest for host Joy Reid yesterday. His mother is Palestinian, and Joy didn't even mention that as a matter of public disclosure. She just said, oh, he's been involved with this reporting from the beginning. Well, yeah, because his mother is Palestinian. And so he has a bias. He cannot be impartial in reporting on this. And here Joy Reid is using it to justify being anti-Semitic. Sick and disgusting that the producers or the company heads of all these press stations are not holding people responsible, except for the New York Times, which Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks condemned. She was the one who came out with the news article saying that that Israel's recording, after all the press all around the world kept accusing them of doing things, being terrorists and bombing innocent people. And so the Jews knew Israelis had to record everything to show the press. And nope, fake videos. That was Anna's reporting to justify being an anti-Semite. It's just so disturbing. And so when the bombing at Niagara Falls occurs, the news all of a sudden went back to being professionals. They did not jump to the conclusion that it was a terrorist attack. They just reported a car exploded at the Rainbow Bridge at Niagara. And they waited, except for Fox News. And they all jumped on Fox News for the reporter saying, "It's an act of terrorism, we're under attack." Calling it unprofessional. And that's what they've all been doing with Israel. Israel bombed the hospital, murder of innocent children. They did not wait in Israel, but they did it for the bombing in Niagara. Dear God, it's beyond hypocrisy. It's just blatant deception upon the people. They report things how they want them to be reported. And so unless you know this, unless you know the tricks that they use to deceive you with, you will be deceived one way or the other to believe that they're all fake news, or that, oh, it's true, I need to hate the Jews, we must burn them. So yes, I have a video that will be separate, but this applies to this. It's the church's hypnotism of you as Mormons. Because I speak to Mormons, I don't speak to ex-Mormons, former Mormons, or never Mormons. But those tend to be, you guys tend to be the majority of my viewers. So, hi, good morning. Did you have a happy Thanksgiving? Mine was busy. I was obtaining the book of the law. It was about 600 pages, and halfway through, not signed in, on the church's site, Joseph Smith Papers, and they hack me. The church hacked me on their site. They have spies watching on their Joseph Smith Papers to attack people. And they saw me, and they must have watched my video, and they attacked me. So sick and wrong. And so, yeah, this morning we've got our first snow on the ground. I was still able to go running, as all is well in Zion. And so there's some more stuff that I need to go over, and I wrote them down, and I'll follow it to make sure that this is quicker. And it's unplugged. Dear God. And yet the other video is more popular. This is a crucial bombshell. And I don't understand why none of you get this. I mean, yes, there are a lot of thumbs up for this video that I did. More so than the other one. But still, dear God. And so, let's again go over it for you. And I'll just have a different title. Put the picture in that I forgot to put in. Used a different picture for the thumbnail. Is that Brent Toon, or Tooney, you know, Tooley, Tooney. It's one of those Utahisms. 21st November, 2023. I didn't see it until the 22nd. They put it up after... Oh, you bastards. Bastards. They did it after I did the church news video on the 21st. Oh, those bastards. That's why I didn't see it until the 22nd. Oh, bastards. That's how sneaky they are. God. So, new online Joseph Smith papers. Content features Nauvoo era tithing records. Okay, so we trust them. They would never lie to us. Right? Church would never lie to us. It would never be sneaky. One thing that I'll point out here at the beginning, rather than look over the notes and make sure I get it, is that it's obvious they rushed this. Because remember, earlier this year, on Joseph Smith's death day, they did the final release. And they were done. That was it. No more. They were done. They advertised. They're done. It was very clear. They're done. They're finished. They purposely waited for Joseph Smith's death day to bring out the last. They're done. No more. They're done. They would never lie to us. They're done. Here we are. And they rushed this. They were working on the Brigham Young papers now. This is in the Brigham Young papers. And they saw it. And instead of hesitating and going, oh, okay, and typing it all out like they've been doing for every other Joseph Smith paper, Book A of the Law of God, in the text that's typed out, is summarized. So that you can't read what they are unless you go to the picture and then blow it up so that you can see it. And so there's some things that I'm wondering. All these years, once I had been catching on to what's going on, is to run tests to find out, is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints going to destroy itself to rise up with the new church? Or are they going to get Christians and Islamists with their false interpretations of the Jewish prophecies, as they're doing, to cause the wars of scriptural prophecy? And so I don't think you guys fully understand when I was talking about Ezekiel 38 with the chapter heading with the Russia invasion of Ukraine. They're still at war. Jesus hasn't come. Did you ever bother to read Ezekiel 38? No? Well, Catholics know about it. That's the Sisters of Fatima. And that's the picture that critics used to impose Joseph Smith being threatened by the destroying angel with a flaming sword and wings to practice polygamy. That's how I was able to find it that other day. And so let's go back, because I had plans of how to do this, but as I'm speaking, it's morphing away from what I intended. This is going to be an hour-long video, I can already see already. Just a heads up. Ezekiel 38. Bruce R. McConkie put in the chapter heading, the battle of Gog and Magog. That's Russia and Ukraine. But they're saying here in the prophecy that it's against Israel. The Sisters of Fatima said that Russia will be involved in a war, and if the Russian leader, great hackers again, the church hackers are revving up my system to blow it. And that happened too. Thanksgiving was just a day of terrorism. As there I am trying to get this vital record that exposes the church. But the Sisters of Fatima says that the Russian leader will have a decision, and if he chooses, he may end up bombing the world and destroying it with nuclear holocaust. That's why Biden and the UN never gave military aid to Ukraine. They did everything else. They had thoughts and prayers. They condemned Russia. And then finally, over time, as we're sneaking it in and Russia doesn't respond to us, And so, we're providing with weaponry and other support. But you'll see that there were many Americans who were upset with this and purposely went to Ukraine to fight for them, to be on the ground at the front lines and fight with them. And so that's the contrasting wars are extremely different. I mean, yes, we did have some press that were accusing Ukraine of atrocities, and Ukraine would come out and record the atrocities that the Russian soldiers were performing, the gruesome violations, and the UN condemned Russia, but as long as Putin continues the war, nobody's ever going to hold him responsible. As long as nobody goes in and attacks him to take him hostage, like Saddam Hussein, nobody will hold him responsible. And that's the two wars are a view of the sick and wrongness in our press and in our government leaders around the world. The way both of them are being handled. Because both of these are from Scripture, as I'm pointing out here for you. And so it's the Jerusalem one has, it is Israel. In the text, it is Israel. And so, as I did mention, Israel purposely called themselves Israel because they believe that King David reigned on the palace on the hill of Zion, right next to the Jerusalem temple, which wasn't built yet because he was a bloody man, and so Solomon had to do it. They think it's all literal history, and they got fooled because of Roman Emperor Constantine, who turned the Jewish scriptures into literal history. And so that's why the Jews believe that if they keep digging up the land, they'll eventually find evidence of King David. They won't. The evidence has been found, and so I know this. King David was the pharaohs of the 18th dynasty. Yes, plural, not like Trinity. And so, yes, the story of David in the scriptures, and even Solomon, are prophecies of the latter days. And so, yes, the whole boy David slaying Goliath, no, not real, not literal history, because you've got Sparta involved. Achilles, Brad Pitt, takes down Goliath. You didn't see Troy? It was awesome. Yeah, Kwaku got humiliated over that. He tried to claim Troy isn't real. Oopsie, it was just discovered. Why didn't you bring it up? Oopsie. And so Bruce R. McConkie continues, it shall usher in the second coming. The Lord will come amid the war. And so he's sort of trying to tie it to the Armageddon War of John the Revelator. Again, not literal history either. But Christians and Islamists believe these as literal history. And that's why the wars are going on. Because they know the Jewish dates. That's why they made t-shirts in China for the 23rd of September 2017 from Revelation chapter 12. But Christians didn't know the dates, which was obvious because nobody understood the date. There were people who were doing a video about it, and there were lots of views for them. Not me, I got 40,000. Which, yes, is a lot for me, but not compared to the other guy. But again, after the 40,000 views for that video, where are they now? Where are they now? They gave up and didn't believe. It's because they didn't understand the learning of the Jews. People had their own preconceived opinions and were trying to enforce them on me so that I'm wrong because it didn't happen the way they wanted them to happen. And that's what the difference is with these wars, is that they are causing them to fulfill, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy. They are the bad guys on purpose to fulfill these, to have Jesus come. And Islam, yes, they're doing it to bring Jesus. But Jesus is a Muslim for them, and he's going to murder the Christians and the Jews. Whereas, for Christians, Jesus is going to come and murder both the Islamists and the Jews. And same with Mormons. As I've done the videos, this is your little clue to remember. Oh yeah, Lucifer has the keys of Melech. It was in attendance at that meeting. And I didn't write it down, so just as I remembered here. because of this, that Mormons aren't supposed to know it, you're supposed to pay attention to what Nelson says and what he doesn't say. After coming out and announcing this, I'm losing it. No! I lost it. Crap. But it has something to do with Adamon Diamond and the change that took over. Frustrating. It began to creep back into my mind with associative memory and then gone. So frustrating. Okay. And so understand that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with their prophets, know about the prophecies of the latter days. That's why we're called Latter-day Saints. But you notice Nelson is not telling us any of this. He's silent about it. But with his little Instagram post, thanking you for thoughts and prayers, you're supposed to pay attention to the clues, not only in his text post, but in the picture that he posted with. He didn't do it from home in his bed. He did it from his office, showing that he's the presider, the president of the church. He's leading and guiding you and giving you revelations and prophecies and seer, Urim and Thummim, rocking a hat stuff. He's trying to present an image for you. Don't be fooled by that. You should know that. That's exactly what he's doing. And so you see the little beehive statue there at the bottom. It's for the kingdom of Deseret. We all know it. It's been a long time. And Jesus in the background. Palm Sunday. What was Palm Sunday? It's a Christian thing. It used to be a Jewish thing. That's when Jesus rides triumphant on a donkey, ass, whatever. It changes. The animal changes throughout the scriptures depending on the author who's using it. It's all the same thing, but a different animal is being used. And he's riding in triumphant to Jerusalem. And because you don't know the learning of the Jews and their manner of prophesying, you don't realize that he's coming into latter-day Zion, the new Jerusalem, riding in triumphant, to be coronated as king. But the author then switched it on you and threw in other stories and harmonized it to all be one story. And so this other one is the date of his riding triumphant into New Jerusalem. But you see it as literal history and go, they're all cheering for him and now they've murdered him. I don't remember that in the Exodus. How was he the man like Moses again? Christians, what Constantine did with that Nicene Creed, created the scriptures into a joke. Literally a joke. Not just because it can't be confirmed with all the fields of science. Oh my God. And so I was thinking this morning that they had talked about Section 85 for the Book of the Law. They don't. I have to correct myself. I gave Trent more credit than he deserves. He botched it. Because this is what it's all about. The latter days. And so, hundreds of pages of 1840s tithing records. With images and searchable transcripts are now available for free. Beware of the hacker, the cyber terrorist, on the Joseph Smith Papers website. Trent Tooney. Looney Tooney, Trent Tooney. Dumbass. They get people who don't even know Mormonism. All Mormons don't know Mormonism. This is a sad reality, guys. That's another video, and I'll discuss my future at the end. If I remember, I should write it down, I guess, shouldn't I? Discuss my future. There it has been, so it has been written, so it shall be spoken. But this concept of feelings in the church has replaced gaining intelligence. Scriptures all talk about intelligence. Gaining intelligence. The light of truth is intelligence. Nope, not anymore. It's all about feelings. Nothing more than feelings. Aren't you supposed to be out shopping, getting yourself murdered with the crowds of people? And it does not open, not until 9 or 10. Oh my God, there's a fight going on. And so most likely it's a homeless person with his dog. Unless it's one of the other neighbors whose dog is... That could be too. But it's not the dog that I know of. That's a different bark. That's a bigger dog. Alright. So, with that interruption, which I think they're gone now, he says, in July 1838, and here's where the church is using Trent Tooney to attack me, because I've already established as a fact Section 119 is a forged document of the Danites. And so now the church rushes this book of the law out to claim that it is the fulfillment of prophecy, the revelation on tithing. But it doesn't talk about the book of the law. Did you even bother to read Section 119, Trent? Like I said, dumbasses all. Your feelings take you away from being intelligent. This is not a person who's intelligent. He does not know. And I was assuming he did know. And he didn't, because Doctrine and Covenants, section 85 isn't here. That's what the book of the law is all about, Trent. It's not about section 119. It's about section 85. And there's some big bombshells about this that he's leading you astray from. And which is why I'm kind of wondering what's going on here in the ultimate end. Is it just to prove me wrong with section 119? Or to cover up again the information in section 85? And so he doesn't talk about the priestcraft in section 119. He doesn't talk about the extortion threat. He just talks about consecrate all their surplus property to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Again, Trent purposely lying to you for the church, saying that that was the name of Joseph's church. It wasn't. It's an established fact. It was the Church of the Latter-day Saints. It was not Jesus. He was not in any name of Joseph's church. This was a Danite coup. And by not admitting this and acknowledging this, Mormons are living in their little bubble worlds and refusing to listen to me. They've already shut me down and they're going their way. They don't want to acknowledge this fact of reality. Their feelings of spiritual witness delusion must be true at all costs. And so they send me hate comments and death threats. And all I'm doing is pointing out the truth from your own scriptures. It's sick and wrong. And then thereafter pay 1/10 of their interest. Clueless. Purposely left out priestcraft. Purposely left out the extortion threat. You have to keep track of these people. The prophets are lying to us. And because they're lying to us, they're covering things up. And what they're covering up, you need to know. And critics, shame on you for not doing your research either. Because not a single critic will talk about this. Just me. You get exclusive knowledge from me. Because I'm the only one that does the research. And I'm making all these discoveries and bombshell reporting that nobody else is. Just the way to perfection? Yeah. No. See, even Avraham Gileadi, this book got him excommunicated. This book. And he caved and said, please take me back. There must be some mistake. Please make sure I keep my job at BYU to support my family. Keep my membership in the church. Please take me back. I'll denounce any God you want. Jesus is real. Take me back. He caved and denied his testimony of what he knew to be true. And so the Council for National Policy, the secret combination of America brought out by the Southern Poverty Law Center, I now tied the church to it. Everything they've done with their members is the church's doing. Because of that membership book. This ledger. This is the criminal ledger of the church. This is the holy grail for prosecutors. And the church with Trent Tooney, Looney Tooney Trent Tooney, is deceiving you, is minimizing it, is faith promoting for your feelings. He's not intelligent. He knows because he had to look at the section to put the revelation directed the saints to consecrate all their surplus property to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and therefore thereafter pay 1/10 of their interest annually. If you read that, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is not in there. I don't think. You can check. Verily, thus saith the Lord, I require all their surplus property. He's looking at this. He doesn't have it memorized. But even if he had it memorized, he had to look at it originally. To be put into the hands of the bishop of my church in Zion. I don't see the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For the building of mine house. Oops, that wasn't listed. Why didn't he put that? That's what this is all about. The book of the law, as you read over it, is for the building of the temple of Nauvoo. He doesn't quote this. And for the laying of the foundation of Zion. Section 85. He does not quote this. And for the priesthood, priestcraft, violation of the Book of Mormon. And for the debts of the presidency, above and beyond the priestcraft of my church. Doesn't say the name. This came out in 1844. Published. They don't say the name. And so yet, Trent Tooney put in the name. He pulled a Willard Richards on you. Joseph Smith History. Willard Richards added Jesus Christ to the name of Joseph's Church in 1838. This is part of the deception. Because this, July 1838, was supposedly written by Joseph. So therefore it has to be the name, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But as Oliver Cowdery tells us, he was told by David Whitmer, the Danites threatened to murder me. I had to leave the church. And they said that Joseph Smith had ordered them to murder me. That Joseph Smith is now the leader of the Danites, as he's calling himself. And he changed the name of the church. To what name? The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Danites were saying this, not Joseph. Because the Joseph Smith History got published in 1842 in the Times and Seasons. No Jesus Christ in the name. Willard Richards put it in. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. Mormons will never check. This is the big con of Mormonism. You have Mormons who know the truth. Trent, he looked at section 119. He knows there is no Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in it. This may go on to 2 hours. Crap. Crap. He knows. Do you see this? Trent knows the truth. And he's lying. The church told us they're done with the Joseph Smith papers. And they rushed before Thanksgiving to publish this. For free. It's a trap. They have a hacker, cyber terrorist. He's going to get you. And he's only talking about tithing. He's not talking about building the temple. But then in the next one he says, it goes on, the revelation provided the solution for funding and building the Nauvoo temple. I was going to give Trent more credit, and I should have known better. Oh my God. This is why you have to do your research. You've got to check these people. They're lying to you. Joseph Smith dictated a lengthy revelation on, I'm going to skip it, designating Nauvoo, Illinois as the church's new gathering place. And the revelation commanded the saints to then build a temple and a boarding house, the Nauvoo house. Guess the date? January 19th, 1841. Bleep you, Trent, you bastard. Oh my God. No, section 119 was not written for the Nauvoo temple. Provided the solution for funding and building the Nauvoo temple. Oh my God. Nope. So the Kirtland Temple was built in 1836. There was no book of the law for that. There should have been, according to the church. There should have been. And here's the bombshell that exposes this whole thing as a fraud. The book of the law, and in section 85, Revelation, and this was published in the Times and Seasons. We know this is a legitimate document. I think this was published. Maybe well, we know it's a legitimate document. It was not published in the Doctrine and Covenants. It was not published in the Book of Commandments because of the date. it was not published until Brigham Young's final year, that edition of the Doctrine and Covenants of 1876. And Mormons don't want to believe it, but this is a letter to W. Phelps. It's not a commandment to the church. But in this letter, it has revelation for the whole church. And it's possible it could be missing. We do know of their attempts to make the Doctrine and Covenants and the Book of Commandments, and there was the mobs that were attacking Joseph, and many pages were destroyed and burned. But because we don't have them, we don't know, it's stupid to speculate. But Brigham Young knew of this. This is a legitimate document. We have the original in the Joseph Smith Papers. We know this was a letter. And Brigham Young knew of this letter because he published it in his Doctrine and Covenants the year before he died. And for you to be a Mormon, to not bother to check that there were different editions of the Doctrine and Covenants, that there was an 1833 Book of Commandments, and then in 1835 there was the Doctrine and Covenants. What did it contain? As a Mormon, you're supposed to know this. You can't just assume that our current Doctrine and Covenants contains the same stuff in the 1835 edition, because you'd be lied to. And there's some bombshells that exposes the church as lying to us. There are forged documents in our current Doctrine and Covenants because of knowing what was contained in those earlier editions and when the new stuff got put in. And Trent knows this because he's having to read the scriptures to put the quotes in his little into his little press lie. His press for the church. And so yes, I can tie it all together with the fake news media. And so he's now, he may not, oh my God, he didn't find out from the scriptures. Listen to this. The revelation provided the solution for funding and building the Nauvoo Temple, as thousands of Latter-day Saints in the 1840s contributed their money and goods to the effort, said Elizabeth Kuhn, a historian and editor of the Joseph Smith Papers. He had to quote section 119, but not for building the Temple of Nauvoo. Elizabeth Kuhn is the liar, and Trent is using her to lie further. And so yes, the people working on the Joseph Smith Papers know the truth and are lying. Elizabeth Kuhn, liar for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's why she's on the Joseph Smith Papers, is because she is willing to lie for the church, to cover up the truth. In October 1840. What date was the revelation given? 19 January 1841. In October 1840, the men of the church had agreed to donate a portion of their time every 10th day to work on the temple. Which temple? Over time, tithing in Nauvoo, he doesn't say who's making this quote, but we can only assume, because he said Elizabeth Kuhn. Elizabeth knows the revelation did not come out until January 19th, 1841. These are more bombshells, in case you hadn't noticed. I was not planning this. I just checked to see if Doctrine and Covenants 85 was here. This is new stuff. This is why it's now going to take 2 hours. More bombshells of the church's lies and cover-ups. And I went over the records. Nope. 1842. So this could be a typing error on Trent's part, or it could be a slip of the tongue from Elizabeth, but it's quoted. It wasn't edited. It's in an official church news article. And so here's where we get to where I realized they're not talking about Doctrine and Covenants 85. All tithing donations were carefully recorded in a book known as Book of the Law of the Lord. And it's red, so you click on it, and it takes you to the Joseph Smith Papers. Book of the Law, sure enough, that's what they called it. But no background on where it came from. Why did they call it the Book of the Law of the Lord? Why did they tell us the Joseph Smith Papers are finished? No more. Working on Brigham Young now. And they rush to get the Book of the Law for us on the 21st, before Thanksgiving. They rush the project so that Elizabeth doesn't type it all out. We can now blame her. She just summarizes. Donation, date, donation, date, donation, date, even journal entry. She does not type out the journal entry. All the rest of the Joseph Smith Papers, yeah, text. You see the full text, they type it out. We can read it. We don't have to look at the handwriting on the actual document. But nope, not for the Book of the Law. They did not do that until Book B. Then they typed it out. It was only 61 pages.